I'm alive.
Hello and welcome to the Weekly Word. Today is Thursday, June 20th. I'm Morgan West.
And I'm Rich Parla.
And today we're joined by Ginger of Game Master Games.
You didn't even let me do my joke.
Did you have one this week?
No, I didn't.
You're welcome. Ginger, say
Wait,
hello and
I do.
you do.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I have a new haircut.
All right,
You
joke
have-
first. Here we
But
go.
that's not actually funny though.
No.
No.
No, it looks good.
All right. Ginger, do you see my haircut? It's new.
I do.
What do you
It
think?
looks good. I like it.
All
I
right.
think it goes well with the mustache and the goatee. I like the look.
It does. It looks sharp. So, Ginger,
All right, there's my joke for the day.
Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you do with Game Master Games.
Well, I guess I got involved with Game Master Games by marrying the owner, Dave VanderWerf.
By the way, have I told you how sorry I am for you for that?
Oh, no.
Sorry, Dave.
He's a good guy.
You're too much.
I love Dave. Dave knows I love him.
So, I was always kind of a geeky person, interested in oddball, eccentric things, but
Mhm.
I wasn't aware really of anything about games or board games. And I wasn't allowed to play Dungeons and Dragons back in the 80s when it was the Devil's Game.
Oh my gosh, really?
I actually wrote a back in the 80s. I wrote a I think I've talked about this before. I wrote a report.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wrote a report on Dungeons and Dragons and called it Death in D&D. It was quite funny. My English teacher was like, "Don't you think you want to change the title?" I'm like, "No." Why? It caught your attention.
It is. It's a sharp title. So, did you ever start playing, Ginger?
I sure did. When I started dating Dave, he and his brother owned Game Master Games in Hicksville,
Right.
and I wanted to help out, right? So
Mhm.
I offered to take over D&D encounters, the introduction to Dungeons and Dragons,
Mhm.
Yeah.
then every week. At the time, he had anywhere from 6 to 10 people coming every week. So I thought, let me take over that table. So that was my introduction to Dungeons and Dragons as a storytelling game that was apparently not the Devil's Game, but just a ton of fun. That was, you two might recognize the timing. That was in April 20, I guess that would have been 2014. In other words, months before the fifth edition hit.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So even
So
before fifth edition, we went from one table of 5 to 10 to 4 or 5 tables. Like
Wow.
it turned into a thing where we needed volunteer DMs to
Right.
step up, and here I am. I just learned the system a few weeks beforehand.
Wow.
So it was a ton of fun, and of course, by the time we wrapped up, there were anywhere from 50 to 75 players a week.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It would fill the store, lots of energy, and I'm so grateful to all the DMs who really stepped up to make it a great time for everybody.
How
So
cool.
this is interesting because it actually brings us to our first topic,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
Our first topic is D&D's impact.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons and the people it attracts and what it awakens in people has had a profound change in my life. And that was a tweet by Todd Kenrick.
Mhm.
He tweeted it. I took it because not specifically for exactly what he tweeted, but we all play D&D here, and we've all been touched by it by one way or another.
Yeah.
And how have we? We've met a lot of diverse people, right? It's not just, at first it was the geeky nerd thing, but I don't think it's all geeky nerdy all the time
No.
now. I mean,
No,
I
it's not.
meet a lot of people that aren't geeky, but then all of a sudden you talk about Dungeons and Dragons, they know about it. And it's like, wow, all right.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Well, I was recently reading an article that expressed that D&D is larger now than it ever has been. It's
Yes.
got a much wider audience.
Yes.
And I think that speaks to the playability of it. Like, it is a universal game. Like, just about anyone can find something that they appreciate in
Yes.
playing.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what I think is most amazing about D&D, and my takeaway in terms of D&D's impact on my life is that I've been, connected with people I would otherwise never have been connected to.
Yeah.
This guy being one of them. And it's amazing. The friendships that it forged, it feels so intense. It feels like when you go through the game and you're playing these like either really heart-wrenching moments or
Right.
really hilarious moments or
Right.
intense or whatever it is. Like
Mhm.
it colors your relationship with a person. It feels a little bit deeper than, oh, you're going to the movies and you're going to talk about the movie you just saw or whatever it is that you regularly do with like in-person friends that you
Yes.
found in school or at work or whatever it is.
I agree.
It's impactful. You
Yes.
get to learn a little bit more
Yeah.
about who the person is and how they handle stress and loss and all of that. It's amazing.
So
I suspect that the game, when you really get into it, when you immerse into it,
Mm-hmm.
it probably uses parts of your brain that are similar to dreams, like certain kinds of dreams and imagination tap into the same parts of your brain as memory.
although there are some of
So
us where it doesn't.
it can create a very real connection. I'm
Well,
sorry, Rich, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, or there's some of us who just don't use their brain at all anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh man, I've had some really amazing experiences with. One time I was, running this game and I'm really into it, and then I noticed that this young man sitting to my right
Mm-hmm.
is like trembling. So I said, "Are you okay?" He goes, "I'm terrified." Because there were goblins outside all the thing. So he really was able to enter in.
Very
And,
cool.
I love how the game gives people a chance to experiment with different ways of being themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you have one of my favorite memories. Dave's in the other room, but he's going to nod and laugh at this. One of my favorite memories is DMing with this really
Is
great
he gonna
guy,
nod and laugh at the
wonderful
same time?
guy, super quiet, very relaxed person. He's playing a barbarian, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in battle. He rolled and he looks at me and says, "I go into a range." I said, "I'm sorry, excuse me?" He goes, "I go into a range." And then he rolled it, and and then as the DM, I took it and I'm like, "And you, blah, blah,
Oh
blah."
my gosh.
And he is grinning ear to ear, this young man. I love that he was able to kind of experiment with something, a way of being that obviously was not his normal mode.
So, all right. So let's move on to the next topic, and let me
Okay.
just address the comments. I made friends with D&D in junior high, and I'm still friends with them today. All right, that's fair. Welcome Smurfy for joining us. Welcome
Yes,
TK for joining us.
Murphy. Hello, TK.
Thank you, John, for joining us and insulting me right off the bat, which
John.
is fair.
Ooh,
Fair.
all right.
I agree. And Smurfy, we got a surprise for you. I know I typed it, but I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
We have a little surprise for you, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Just a little bit.
All right.
All
So
right.
that moves us on to the next topic, which is our D&D tip, brought to us by Sly Flourish. The tip is as such: let the story shift direction based on what the players remember and focus their attention on. What did they care about?
So I picked this tip because of what we just talked about on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
We just talked about it on Monday.
Yeah.
So we can develop our live streaming campaign based off of what you guys actually write.
Mm-hmm.
So if you write something and I'm going to read it, right, and I read through it and go, oh, okay, that's what they remember. All right, maybe I can shift and start making that more important.
Right.
I really like that tip.
Mm-hmm.
Let it evolve. That gives a co-creation to both
Absolutely.
the DMs,
Mhm.
the GMs, and the players, and I think
Sure.
it really brings the cohesiveness together.
Mhm.
Yes, Smurfy, a surprise.
Yeah, there's something exciting about when a player's experience in a world is how the DM decides
Yeah.
to continue playing the campaign with them. I mean, everyone starts a campaign with a idea. I might be
Yeah.
speaking a little too generously for some. I know there
What are you
are.
saying?
I
I
know
don't have
there are.
ideas?
There are a lot
You're
of
looking
people.
right at me.
There are a lot of people who enjoy to do nothing but improv. To play through. Don't do a lot of prep. So more power to them. But a lot of us start with
What are you saying?
concepts and premises. You did. I know you did.
I did a lot of prep for you guys,
Yeah.
although I do a lot of improv. Most of the time I do improv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know. I think you're making fun of me.
No.
I think there's a lot of subtleties there.
You are not.
But your hair still looks really good.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is the key point today.
It does. It looks really good.
Morgan, just like to add a comment to that, that I think especially when you are when you're playing with very young people,
Uh-huh.
so it's important to let them go
What people?
well, like, junior high age,
Oh,
Yes.
I don't mean like teeny tiny people.
Uh-huh.
But like I know I've been a little startled. I remember once DMing at the local library for 7 or 8 junior high school people
Mhm.
who just were really the most bloodthirsty people I'd ever met.
because they don't care. They don't care.
That's too
But
funny.
they had
I forgot
so
my
much
guitar.
fun and they were very creative about their bloodthirstiness. So,
Ginger, tell Dave that I have my guitar. It's just off screen, and I was gonna set it up here for him, but I forgot it.
okay.
So it'll be out next week.
Okay. I'll let him know, Dave.
So Ginger, how did you handle the junior high kids? Did you just start tossing them guys to slaughter,
I have to tell you, I wrestled with it because the public library had asked me to keep it like, relatively low key.
or what?
Trying
It
to
was
figure
their
out the color
first
of your
D&D
shirt.
event.
Mustard.
Yeah,
I
that's the color.
I kind of rolled with it though. I asked them to be creative, so I would encourage all kinds of like leaping and jumping and twirling of swords and experiments.
Oh, cool.
I just kind of discouraged beheading. That was
You've lost my interest already. I would start with
No.
beheading. What do we got up next?
Conjuring frogs.
Conjuring frogs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, by the way, just so everybody knows, subscribe if you haven't subscribed.
Yes.
And all the links to to the articles that we're talking about are all in the description. I pasted them there this morning, yesterday myself. So if there's a mistake, blame Morgan. If we've read the article, according to the article, people believe it was a poll. People believe it is more difficult to conjure a frog than it is to change its color.
Mm-hmm.
And people have different ideas about what's difficult in magic, and the reason why I picked it, because what it relates to is we take our preconceived notions into the world of D&D
Mm-hmm.
and magic and how it should work.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, magic is fantastical. Sure, physics don't work exactly the way we expect them to.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that we don't apply our laws of physics to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it shows that when you conjure a frog, you have to make something out of nothing,
Right.
as opposed to changing its color, which is really in people's eyes possible because chameleons do it,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was very interesting.
It was a very interesting article. I love that. Well, it kind of brings us back to one of the topics we had from a previous week, in which we talked about how D&D can make you smarter. Do you remember that article? It does cause you to apply real life science to the game, and it might not be clean,
Right.
or
Right.
accurate,
Right.
but it gets you thinking, and I think that's
It-
right there the important part.
It really does. It
Mhm.
really does. And so, I enjoyed that one. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a good article. It reminded me too to appeal to a slightly different geekdom. Like for example, if you're reading the Harry Potter series
Yeah.
Mhm.
and the kids are studying magic, really it's just another form of technology if you think about how they use it. Because like conjuring a frog, that is extremely difficult stuff. You start with levitating feathers and all that kind of
yes.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's interesting. You're right, and I love how in the who have been immersed in fantasy games and books versus people who aren't,
Yes.
and they didn't see any difference. So it was not necessarily culturally induced, so to speak. So I thought that was interesting, and it's helpful. It's also good for DMs to remember that things have to stay somewhat logical.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
I have a question relating to this.
Okay.
What preconceived notions do you take into D&D?
What do you mean? Like, preconceived notions.
Yes. Like, when you go into D&D, what do you think should be and should always be?
Should be and should always.
Well,
be.
which it should be based off of what you think it should be. Is there anything like that?
You mean in the world, Rich, or the way people act, or just like the physical?
So just like when you think of magic and you think that even magic needs to obey some laws of physics,
Mhm.
right? what is it that you think that, like, is there anything, and there may not be, or you may not even realize it, because that's the whole point, is it's really subconscious, is what do you take from your mind and transpose it onto the world of D&D and say, oh, it should happen? I actually have an answer, but that's why I'm asking.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah, let's hear your answer.
Yeah.
So combat,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Having, having played around in sparring and martial arts and stuff like that, and knowing things, and you heard me describe stuff as you guys fight, what happens, this swing, that move, this, and you spin and turn, all of this happens in 6 seconds, and people are like, well, I want to do all of this stuff, and I'm like, you physically can't, but that's one of the reasons why I don't use a grid. I don't use a grid because I think I think you can do more things than a grid would allow you to, because the grid forces you into a tactical space. Whereas without the grid, you can start thinking, and you just tell me what you want to do, and if I think in my head, could I do that? Could that be done? Thinking the people that I know, I'm like, sure, you could do it, and we'll give that a shot. You see. So that's kind of the realism that I subconsciously bring to it, but I bring to it. Most fights I picture in my head, and if I can't picture your actions in my head, I'm going to say no.
Okay, interesting.
So just make them real.
I guess I think where you're coming from in that respect, to add on to that idea that people get caught up in the dynamic, like the actual what is in front of them if they're looking at a grid.
Yeah.
I actually feel the exact same way about character sheets. I think people get too caught up on the explicit things that are listed on their character sheets, and they end up losing a little bit of creativity in that respect. You're right.
They lose some of the imagination. Before it gets too much later, let's make a couple of announcements. Right.
Yes,
first of all, the weekly word time is going to be shifting 1/2 hour earlier, starting next week.
We're going to start at 9. Live at 9 p.m.
Because we'd like to wrap up and give people enough time. Give people enough time with
Critical Role.
Critical Role. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I was trying to say.
I knew where you were going. So
listen, I don't always have the script up in front of me because I can't. I'm watching the comments.
Yes. But it's true. It is something that we want to think about. We know that for most of the viewers who are interested in our show are interested in Critical Role.
Yes. So we definitely want to get them off so they can get there and not cut us off and then have to look up. So Smurfy has asked about her surprise.
Yes.
So
we can give her surprise.
We can give her her surprise. Yeah, I think we can give her surprise.
Yeah. All right. Without any further ado.
So she can't see it yet. So
oh my God, it's so funny.
Some of you may remember a couple of episodes ago, 3 or 4 episodes ago. Can you see that? You can't see it yet, right,
Did
Ginger?
You cut? You didn't
No, I didn't
cut.
cut it. No, I want to
Why
explain
not?
because I want to explain first.
Okay.
We were talking about putting John in the refrigerator.
Yes.
Right? We were talking about putting John in the refrigerator, and Smurfy so succinctly said, Morgan, I think you could fold Rich up to put into a freezer. Chaotic Anarchy and Smurfy were talking back and forth about how the dimensions might not work. Well, I'm here to prove you that I can be put in a refrigerator and a freezer. So, there you go,
I love
Smurfy.
It. I'm so glad you did that.
I got a freezer and I put myself in it and took a picture. So it's just.
Did you have to was there a light bulb in it?
No, there wasn't a light bulb, but luckily I had.
Oh, you couldn't answer that for us.
I had. Well, there was no light bulb in it. There was nothing in it, so what can I do?
We need to find another freezer.
I'm just waiting for it to go on, because I know we're on a little bit of a delay, so I'm just waiting for it to go on. There you go. Smurfy, there you go. It's for you.
Yes.
All
right.
So I had a friend there, and then he wouldn't, and then he was just looking at me like he's like, you were so weird. Why are you doing this? And I'm like, you don't understand.
Was
this
it
was
on?
Important.
Was it cold?
Unfortunately, it was not.
Oh.
But I would put it on. I would have put it on.
Okay.
I wouldn't have cared.
I could go for a freezer right now. It's really warm in here.
Yeah.
It's just to open my freezer.
Remember, small children, do not close the door.
So hopefully, Smurfy, I hope you enjoyed that. That was specifically for you. So what is my next challenge?
Did you turn it off?
I did. I turned it off. It's just on a delay. So my next challenge is letting Morgan dress me up for Halloween.
Yes.
Right. So we're good with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's going to be, but it just as long as it's not stupid.
Yeah. I'll think of something not stupid.
I know you will. I know you will. I trust
Who
you.
defines the not stupid thing?
Morgan does.
Okay.
Morgan's got.
Oh, Morgan.
Morgan's got free
You're
reign.
in trouble then. If I get to
Okay,
decide what's not stupid, All right. All right, so let's move on to our next topic.
Yes, let's move on to our next topic.
So the next topic is what makes you proud? So DMs and PCs, what makes you proud of your campaign pals? My PCs are so endearing. They buy apples to feed their horses, perform puppet shows for children, and can never remember their code names. Why does your group shine? Let's spread some nerd feels around. This was brought to us by Furore_D&D, so thank you.
She's also known as Amber, Queen of Dragons. I'm actually going to see if she would like to be on the show. She's been a lot of fun. I follow her on Twitter.
That would be great. So, what makes me proud of my campaign pals? The unending creativity of my one player. So he plays a paladin, a lawful evil paladin, who is just disturbing. To say it bluntly, he plays the most disturbing character I've ever encountered, and this is coming from a girl who plays Nepeta.
Yeah, well.
So, so for example, he incorporates pulling dirt out of the ground and stuffing it in the mouths of his fallen comrades and grinding up
not right.
dust from diamonds and
This
stuffing it in their mouths, closing their mouths and praying to them as he holds their fallen corpse heads.
So this is what makes you proud.
It does, because it's amazing. He is so passionate about the role play of his abilities in game, and that makes me proud.
I wonder if the definition of proud has changed since the last time I looked it up.
It does. It's amazing. It's amazing. I think it's great because just yesterday,
right,
he gave a speech, and it was he memorized like a prayer,
20 deaths ago,
a 20-line prayer to recite in game, and he did it at the drop of a hat, and it was just amazing. The amount of thought he puts into playing this character is really admirable. So that makes me proud. Lothric,
I have
to you.
some ideas on this one too, Morgan, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I love when people stick with character even when it drives them insane. Like, to be real. Like, I have my friend Anne played a paladin once, lawful good.
Mm-hmm.
Drove her so crazy that as soon as she could get rid of that one, she's played a rogue ever since.
Oh.
She was consistent with it. I love when my friends do funny accents.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because, and I love when people are able to let go of the rules.
Yeah.
And just let the DM guide it.
Yeah.
For the sake of the fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people have trouble with that. Like, no, you need to. But no, just let it go. The point is to have a good time.
You know what? Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we get away from that, and it really is the point is to have a good time.
Yeah.
I like to see the players enjoy themselves. That's what makes me proud. When I walk away from a session and people said that was good, I had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like our last Monday session where we ended right in the middle of a battle.
Mm-hmm.
So that made me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm proud of for that.
Yeah, I've got another input.
And just to address a couple of comments.
Yeah.
Smurfy is very happy with the picture of me in the freezer.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
Awesome.
She's also going to give you some suggestions on the Halloween costume.
Sweet.
Which is good. And last, TK also loves players like that. He very much enjoyed what you were saying about it because it is pretty cool.
It's really amazing. I try, and I think sometimes I do a good enough job. I don't know. Humble brag. I don't know what that is.
But less than humble.
But
again, another word that's subjective.
Yeah. Another thing I really enjoy is when players put away the min-maxing that people want to do and just go for things that are in character, go for
Yes.
things that are like funny or clever. I love that. That makes me proud. Is when you can step away from the wanting to be great for a minute.
Yes.
Is nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do something to advance the story. One of my very favorite Dungeons and Dragons memories is when we were at the store. It was 5 to 10. David had been signaling, giving me the wrap it up signal. All the other tables were done, but our table was still in the middle of battle.
Mm-hmm.
And and so I just went into bad guy mode, into the bad guy. I don't remember the details, but I said to the leader of the party, the player party, "You, me, just done, blah, 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 blah." And he's like, the guy looks me in the eye. I'll never forget, his name's Pete. He's like, yeah, you and me. The next thing, imagine 25 people around the table watching us do all this out. And they just got so into it. And when the player character finally won and the bad guy was down, this huge roar goes up.
I love
and
that.
You've had a good night when everyone is outside the locked door of the store for 25 minutes going over the campaign.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh my God. That
Happens all the time. It's legendary.
I used to. Oh my
So
God. I
that
used to
was
have to. Yeah. I understand, Ginger. I used to have to finally leave them at 2 a.m. I'm going, guys. I'm going home. You guys can continue talking in front of the store.
Yeah.
I don't care, but I
Yeah.
am leaving.
That was us last week
Oh
for
my
Tuesday
God.
night. We were out there for at least an hour.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I also have to say though,
Yeah, go ahead.
what makes me proud is when people step up to learn how to DM.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome point, Ginger.
Especially in that, and when you have so many people coming to learn and new tables sprouting. Really, people were really brave, and I'm just going to come out there because I saw, we didn't talk about it specifically, but I see in our little list we were going to address diversity.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard for me to get young women to step up to the plate. And I was always so grateful when someone just like, yeah, girl gamer power, right?
Yes.
And we had a couple African American DMs, and again, it's like, yes! And because when I grew up, D&D was a white guy's game.
I thought
Yeah.
you said. I thought you said when you grow up. I'm like, that's my line.
Oh, so when I did back in the
That's my line.
when I wasn't allowed to play, right?
Yeah.
I'm the one who needs to grow up.
But yes, Ginger, you're right. I was just reading an article about diversity in D&D, and it really has kind of turned a corner, and I think that's really amazing. When I started playing, I was playing with nothing but my white male friends, and now I listen to all girl podcasts and characters who are transgender and go by they them. Like, it's amazing. It's really amazing. And
Absolutely.
like, power to our community for being so supportive, for moving forward, for not like holding themselves back.
And giving safe places to play.
Yeah.
Like Game Master Games was a safe place. Legendary Realms has always been a safe place. We have a zero intolerance policy.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
But
No, it
it's
makes
so.
a big difference, Rich.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
It
And,
was and TK, you're right. It was the dark ages of tabletop role playing games. It really was. It was way too exclusive and not inclusive.
Yeah.
And that was wrong.
But
So
here we are.
that's here we are.
It's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Still sane. Well, that's debatable also, but
So let's move on to our final topic of the night.
absolutely.
This is a topic that I presented because board games for non-gamers. So
I didn't thank Morgan for this in the description below. I just want to let you guys
that's
know.
okay.
Because
I'm
she's
taking
here.
credit now. It's happening.
She's gonna take credit whether it doesn't matter. She's
I have ideas, Morgan.
Good.
credit taker.
So I'm going away with my family tomorrow for my birthday, a belated birthday trip, and I'm gonna be reined in
So you'll leave me-
tomorrow.
leave me
I am,
alone.
yeah.
Fine.
So I'm gonna be reined in tomorrow, and I want to do my favorite thing, which is play board games. But neither of my siblings nor my mother are particularly interested in board games, and it's inevitably the joke of my birthday is like, what do you want to do? No, we don't want to play board games before I even open my mouth.
Oh,
So,
you might have
I,
to call birthday girl back and say, I'm sorry, it's
yes.
my birthday.
Well, I'm lucky enough to have surrounded myself with friends who love board gaming, so I've got no shortage of individuals to play with. But nonetheless, I want to do it with my gosh darn siblings. So
I don't know why I find this so funny.
I don't know. The only time I play board games with my family is when we have power outages.
Right.
And it's always Monopoly, and we always end 2 hours later miserable. You know, so Ginger, share with me your wealth of knowledge. Do you have any tips for getting non-gamers interested in playing board games? Do you have any game recommendations,
Okay.
mechanic recommendations that would be a good idea to introduce people who don't play board games?
Yes.
Well, my first tip would be the obvious one, is that don't teach them Pathfinder card games.
Oh, good God, no! Don't give them. Oh, stay away from
Just
that.
avoid it.
Stay away
Like,
from Magic the
seriously.
Gathering.
Mhm.
Stay away from. Yes, I agree with you.
Anything that is like going to take 20 minutes to
Mhm.
explain. I mean, I love board games, and
Yeah.
I'll be like ready to throttle poor David. Like, please, can we just play? Okay.
Okay.
You
Now,
sure that's about the board
this,
game?
I don't know if you could see this or hear it.
I hear something.
These are bells.
Ooh.
What are you gonna do
Okay.
with bells?
Now, I wish I could.
She did come
have
with
a better
bells
way to
on.
show it to you, but
That's awesome.
do you have this at the store? Say yes. I hope so. 'Cause
No,
if
I
you
don't have this at the
then
No,
store.
we don't.
But I know what game you're talking about because I'm looking at the
Oh
store.
yes,
Yes,
Ginger, you're bringing back memories. We played that game together.
we did
Yes,
Ginger, you and I played
the
that
library.
game.
we
You
did.
played at the library. So I played this game with Ginger at Long Island Retro Gaming Convention last year.
What you do is you just put it out,
Mhm.
and people will want to take this little one and stick it in there and grab bells. It just sucks them in.
You know, it just
Now,
reminds me of going to bingo
Yeah.
with my grandmother
Mhm.
when I used to go when she used to go
Mhm.
and with those magnetic wands.
Oh.
I love those things.
So Ginger, what game is that? What is that game called?
the one with the bells,
Yes.
Bellz.
Bells.
And
All right.
the only other tip I have about it is to not put it near where small children will see it because they want to play and they just can't. They don't have the motor skills.
Aw.
So, Dave disagrees with me because I guess, I don't know. Maybe but I love games like, Quarto
Yes.
because games that you can explain how to play in 30 seconds or less.
Mm.
Okay.
And sure, you could say, this game will be like 5 minutes. Want to try? All right, sure.
Mhm.
The next thing you know, they want to do it again and again.
Yeah.
And for the same reason, I love Corridor.
Okay.
So I love to take these two games whenever we do any kind of convention or library event. I take Bells because that, that shakes them, seduces them in. So
Uh-huh.
and then we have the giant corridor game, but for your birthday you could bring a little one. And again, it's a game that takes like 15, 20 seconds to explain, and then people they have a good time with it because it's short.
Right.
They don't feel trapped by it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like
short.
I like Timeline. Timeline's a good
Yeah,
game.
I did like that one too. A lot of people like that.
That's a really good game to introduce people to. Everybody gets cards, and on the cards there's, depending on the version of Timeline that you there's like an invention or something, a discovery, and you have to place it, and you build a timeline in the middle, right? And you have to place it where you think it goes, and then you flip it over, and if you're right, you place it there and you lose a card. If you're wrong, you have to discard it and you get a new card, and the goal is to get rid of all your cards and create a timeline.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very easy, and you know, yeah, and it's built off of knowledge for that, like, just everybody has. It's not requires
Is
no
it
explanation.
based on the actual timeline,
Yes.
like human history?
Yes.
Oh, cool. All right, that
Yes.
sounds like fun.
Yeah,
I gotta
it's
check
based
that
on
out.
the actual history of timelines, and
Mhm.
there was Oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
So and there was others.
Hmm.
And all the sets can be combined.
Mhm.
So you
Okay.
could do discoveries, American history. There was
Mhm.
discoveries, American history, inventions, and then there's a few others. They have a whole bunch
Okay.
of.
Yeah, that
Of
is
those.
a really good suggestion.
Hmm.
So I like that because
So
that's a
things like
no
that
explanation.
aren't necessarily like really blingy,
Mm.
except for bells, obviously, but they're so quick to learn and play. People kind of can get into.
Okay.
Dave asked me to mention, of course, Happy Salmon, glug glug glug. Now that
So-
one place
Happy
you can get
salmon.
that
I have
one.
such a happy memory of that
Well,
game.
that's good for people who are into board games. I still think there's a level of outwardness.
Happy salmon.
Yes,
Yeah.
that you need
Oh,
to
yeah.
that you need to
I
possess
could not.
and play
I could
Happy
not
Salmon.
get my brother to play Happy
Right.
Salmon. It just won't happen.
Right.
It just
Really,
won't.
he's too shy, or?
Oh no, he's too much of a party pooper. He won't do it.
Right.
Oh no, no, you
Hey.
can't be a party.
I
Look,
know.
Love Letter's
I
not a
know.
bad. Love Letter's not a bad game. It's
Yeah,
pretty quick.
that's a true.
Yeah.
I was thinking. So the back of my head, I was thinking, code names.
Oh, Codenames is awesome. That would be.
Dave
It's an
likes
awesome
Codenames.
beginner thing.
Anyone can play it. It's not that involved to teach how to play it.
Yep.
And as soon as you get the concept, it's easy to play.
Yep.
There's no strategy really. Well, there's strategy, but there's no game mechanics you need to learn. You know.
Yes.
And I think that turns off a lot of people.
Correct.
Who are new to gaming.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Although I have seen, I'm a wedding officiant, so pardon me, I have to say this up front, but I have
We're
seen
not
people
engaged.
get into arguments over it. No, like, people will be like, how could you not have understood what I said? Don't you remember when we were...
I think that might be fun for a group of siblings. I think that you could play into that a little, like that sibling rivalry has been there from the get-go. Like we are used to yelling at one another, you know. So
Yeah.
I think we could play into
Absolutely.
that maybe. But
So good.
I have to check out that. Corto I've played with you, Ginger, and Bells too.
Great.
So yeah, Happy Salmon though I have to say, we closed out the Long Island Retro Gaming Convention last year with a game of Happy Salmon with you, Ginger, and it was
Oh, my
the
gosh,
most
that was
fun.
hysterical.
It
That
was
so
so great, and you know what? My girlfriend Tara loved that game so much that I bought it for her for Christmas, and she lost her mind, and it was just
That was
it was
Tara
perfect.
lost her mind
actually
before
is
that.
one of my very favorite Happy Salmon memories. I don't know if you remember the guys. A couple guys. Some of your guys ran in because they thought we were being attacked or something.
Yes.
It was so quiet.
Oh wait, last year you mean that?
Yes.
Last Long Island Retro?
Yes.
Oh,
we
It's
made
all
it.
of a sudden-
We got a little. We
That's
got
what-
really into it.
that's when we were breaking everything down, right?
Yeah, it was at like 11 o'clock at night,
Jason
and we were
Jared,
just.
A couple guys come running around the corner. Oh my God, you okay,
Awesome.
It was an amazing,
more
amazing
serious
night.
note, I mean, how serious can you get when you're talking about games? But with families, my dad, when he got older and sick, my dad passed away
Mhm.
a couple
Sorry
of
to hear
years ago.
that.
He had Alzheimer's,
Oh,
but he always loved Apples to Apples,
Okay.
great game.
Yes.
right?
Classic.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, now of course people are different, so it might depend on what part of your brain is impacted. But he loved bananagrams.
Oh, cool.
I've never
And
played that, but I've
people
heard good
like
things.
It's fun.
Scrabble.
Yeah.
You can get them.
Yeah.
People who like Scrabble will play bananagrams.
Yeah.
And Ingenious, which is one of my favorite games.
Another one I have not played, but I also have heard pretty decent things. Actually, I think John said pretty decent things, so I'm gonna have to not take his word for it and take your word for it.
I
Because
love it. And of course, Splendor. People like Splendor.
Oh, Splendor. That's perfect. I'll
I've
bring
never
that
played
too. I have
Splendor.
that. Oh, that's our next Monday night game.
all right, let's play it. Good. Very good.
Splendor. What a great game. Oh, love it.
Well, happy birthday. I hope you have
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Well, that was our final topic, and it was a good one. I loved
Which
it.
brings us to what we are.
What we are. What are we?
Okay.
I do this every week. Every week I'm like, what are we?
What are we?
What are we? Okay. Oh man.
Why are we?
So
Where
let's
are we again?
yes. So let's start with watching. Are you watching anything?
I just finished the entire series of Family Guy, and I'm starting on
Wow.
something else.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm starting on yet, but
Mhm.
I'm starting. Right. I was
Mhm.
watching South Park.
Okay.
We'll
That's
see.
fun.
We'll see.
Ginger, are you watching anything?
No, I really am
Oh
not
wait,
big on film. So or TV. I don't know. I'm not. So
Okay.
no, I'm not.
I finished The
But
Expanse
I
last.
do love to
Yes,
read.
I
So
think we
next
talked
question,
about
you'll
that.
catch me.
I I finished The Expanse.
Okay.
I was missing one episode, one and a
Oh.
half episodes,
Uh huh.
but I was with Steve
Uh huh.
this week, and I asked if we could put it on, so we put it on,
That's so funny.
and I just we just finished
So,
it.
what did you think?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just gotta
Cool.
wait for the new Amazon one.
Cool.
So
I finished Chernobyl, which was amazing and horrifying, and if you're
Amazingly
into
horrifying.
it was really
You're not
spectacular.
you're not the only person who's told me this.
It was really, I mean, the first episode I nearly had an existential crisis at the end of, but like in a good way, and none of the episodes after that disappointed. It kept itself strong the entire way through.
So that's very interesting because they were talking about it at work, and I remember my coworker. She turns around, she's like, "I don't even remember that happening." We were like, "Really?"
Oh.
We're like, "You don't remember that? You were old enough to have that memory, and
Wow.
you had to be very careful. You can't say you were old enough to have
Yeah.
that memory, but she was.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, whatever. I was in junior high. She was not.
Okay.
Oh, I was older. I was in Alaska when the cloud came over. It was like,
That's terrifying. I couldn't imagine. It really was horrifying.
Yeah, TK
And-
says Chernobyl was guttural.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, you know,
Well, you have to agree, not me.
I
didn't see
do.
it yet.
I do. And you know, when I finished watching the first episode, because, so I'm going to date myself. I wasn't alive when the incident happened. So this was really like my first in-depth discovery of what happened, you know? I mean, I knew it had happened,
Yes.
but, and when I heard it, it was just like the details,
Yeah.
the cover-up was
Mhm.
horrifying. And I was watching it with my mother, and she expressed, she's like, can you believe that? Like, that was communist thinking. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, we've still got things going on like that even to this day. Think about
We do.
Flint, Michigan, and the water crisis there, and how that was a complete and utter cover-up because
Yeah.
people didn't want to get in trouble,
Yeah.
you know, and lose their job. It was horrifying, but really an amazing series. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. Amazing. After that, I moved on to a new HBO series, Gentleman Jack, which is tons of fun. It's a period piece about Anne Lister, who is a lesbian woman running land that was given to her. So she's acting as a landlord and pulling in on rents
Right.
from her male tenants who are really struggling with this idea that they could have to do business with a woman. It's fascinating. It takes place in 1832, I
okay.
believe.
Yeah,
really, really
oh,
amazing.
wow.
Gives
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's
Period.
based on the diaries of supposedly a real life woman who did in fact operate this piece of property in England. So
Very cool.
really interesting.
Dave commented 90 seconds on the roof. That's
Ugh.
about all people can last on the roof, especially if it's icy.
Oh,
It's crazy.
What are we reading?
oh, I just read something amazing.
Oh, what?
Josh, the reference librarian over at Bethpage, recommended it. It's called The Priory of the Orange Tree
Okay.
by Samantha Shannon.
Okay.
So I told Josh, he asked me to take a look at it because he says it was getting good reviews. And I said, he hands me this like tome. And I said, I'll read it as long as it's not the first of a trilogy.
Yeah.
But no, it was because I can't stand it. You know, you read 1,200 pages,
Mhm.
and then on page 1199 there's a cliffhanger. I'm like,
Ah,
but this one, no, it's not part of a trilogy.
okay.
But the fantasy was very smart. The relationships were smart.
Hmm.
And, I guess I hesitate to use the word feminist, but if having female characters behave like normal people in positions of power and strength and weakness,
Cool.
then it was feminist. And the magic, the different perspectives, it was really. It
Oh,
was
I'm
a
gonna
bit
have
too
to check it
violent
out.
for my taste, which would mean Dave was probably laughing out of the room. It's probably just about perfect for everyone. I still can't watch the vampire fight scenes in Buffy, so that's
Oh, Ginger, you're
That's just
amazing.
silly.
Uh,
What are you reading?
Very cool. All right, The Priory of the Orange Tree. Well, I can't believe it. It's already been a week, but I have not read again.
Wow, that you followed the script word for word.
Did I?
Yeah, almost. It's like I can't believe it's already a week.
I haven't. That's really funny. I haven't physically read any more of The Silkworm.
So for those of you who don't know or do know, we have a script, but the script is really just bullet points and not for us to read.
Right.
So when we read exactly what's
Look
on
at
the
that.
script, it's silly, especially when it's our opinions.
Yeah. But no, I haven't. I've listened to more of The Silkworm. I've got about a 2-hour drive tomorrow that I'm going to listen to my book on CD. I couldn't be more excited about that. Just got to make sure I get myself a nice big coffee in the morning to enjoy myself with. So
That's right.
I am reading Skyward
okay.
by Brandon Sanderson. I'm a little bit more than halfway through the book, and it is about this. It's about the human race that was being destroyed by an alien race. They crash landed on a planet, and they weren't able to form groups of more than 100, so they were dispersed across the planet. And now they started to build starships so they can fight back. And now they have like a surface. They were hidden in caves, but now they have a surface city. And again, I'm only about halfway through, but the main character's father ran from the quintessential battle at the beginning of the book, and so he was branded a coward, and she is being treated like really bad. So, but there's more to the story, and they started to allude that there was more to the story. She never believed he was a coward. So, I personally like Brandon Sanderson. I like his writing style. A lot of you know that. Some of you don't, and those who don't, deal with it, or at least you know now. But I'm liking this book. This book is really good. I think he may have published like 50 more books in the 6 months I haven't read him, so I'm gonna have to make sure I catch up. Dave is reading. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just don't dump into the rabbit hole of the modern day Chernobyl, right? And then reading Communion by Whitley Strieber. Okay.
Okay.
That's what Dave's reading. We don't know what it's about, but that's okay. Just telling you what people are putting in the comments.
I don't know what it's about, but it must be disturbing because he doesn't want me to read it.
Oh wow! Now I want to know what it's about. Yeah, that's as good of a sale on on a story as I've heard recently.
So, what are we listening to?
What are you listening to? Are you still listening to Disturbed?
I am not listening to Disturbed. I am not.
Okay.
I now just put on Spotify and try to look for some new music.
Cool.
Although I did listen to salsa.
Oh yes,
for a couple of times, more than a couple of times this week as
pretty cool.
As I've learned taking some salsa lessons.
All right.
I got a lot of the basic footwork, but I got to practice. Apparently, you have to do it 10,000 times to get it stuck in your head. So
all right.
I'm gonna practice that.
How about you, Ginger? What are you listening to?
Well, I do like audiobooks.
Okay.
You mentioned audiobooks, so I'm trying to think. Couple of the last ones that I've read, pretty different. Like I listened to Kill a Mockingbird's CC Spacek read it. And then after that, I listened to Crazy Rich Asians, which was just a hoot. And after that, World War Z.
Oh.
Which again, for someone who can't take violence, was a bit intense. But that book I read, and the audiobook was amazing.
I heard that the book is 100 times better than the movie. I haven't read the book yet, but it is on my list.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't seen the movie, but
Good.
there's no way the movie could be as good as the book.
I did like it.
I didn't think the movie was horrible, but people were saying that the book was so much more than that. So.
Well, I think that jives.
Dave is listening to the Spiel podcast.
Okay, cool.
All right, so before we move on to the quick notes, actually, there's only one quick note, so let me just do the one quick note. The one quick note is that The Expanse has an RPG out. at Morris had posted that for us, and there is an Expanse RPG. So if you like the Expanse a lot, check it out. I really have not looked at it too much, so I can't really give you a review or an opinion on it.
Okay.
But people that like the Expanse may want to go check that out. Before we move on, I'd just like to announce some upcoming guests. Next week we have a blank spot, but we will be filling that in the next couple of days, so
Okay.
I can't announce that yet.
Okay.
But we have tentatively, I put that in just now, and we'll talk. But TK's listening.
Okay.
But TK said that he is free on July 11th
Uh-oh.
if we want him. Okay, I wasn't sure. So you have somebody to pencil in?
I think I did.
TK, we may have a conflict, but so we'll fill you out at the next possible date.
We can work around it, I'm sure.
We'll work
figure
around
it out,
it.
yeah.
On the 18th, we have Mets Girl coming in. On the 25th, we have tentatively scheduled, hopefully, PFRPG and Chaotic Anarchy again.
Cool.
That would be great. We have 2 guests that night.
Yeah, nice.
Then we have on 8/1, Morgan West will be the guest because
What?
I will be in Indianapolis with Chaotic Anarchy and that
Yeah.
group. Courtney will be my co-host, and Morgan will be my guest.
Yeah, will be.
Whoa.
Uh,
You'll be in the guest seat, Morgan.
Yeah, I will.
That's right, because
Mhm.
we'll be doing live from the Hyatt Regency in Indianapolis.
Mhm.
And then Robin Caulfield, that's yours.
Yeah.
Awesome. So so Robin Caulfield will be joining us on August 8th.
Yes.
Looks like our guest list is getting.
It's pretty awesome.
I like it.
I love it.
And I still have 2 other people. Recently, I had to bow out of a project,
Okay.
which I felt bad, but somebody was putting together a project that they're building for Halloween. They're building 2 volumes of adventures based on the blood. And so, in return for me bowing out, I said, "Come on the show, be a guest, and plug it, and talk about it." Because I think it's a really cool idea. So we'll have them on, and yeah, looks like we're booking up.
Awesome.
I like it. Okay, we can move on. Plugs.
Plugs.
That's you.
This is me,
Here.
Ginger.
Yes.
First off, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a hoot.
been fun.
A lot of fun. So at this point, I'd love for you to fill us in on what you're up to. You did tell us a little bit about the Bethpage Library, gaming nights that you do, but I understand you're also involved with Game Master Games Facebook Live events on Wednesday nights. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, sometimes Dave will ask me to join him on Facebook Live. So if you want to connect with Game Master Games, that's a great place to do it. That's Wednesdays at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Also, usually the first Friday, of course, July is an exception. But we run gaming events at the Bethpage Public Library. We're hoping to be at SciCon, which is September 14th, at the Syosset Public Library.
Okay.
And, of course, DexCon in New Jersey.
Cool.
Right.
So that's the game connection. And,
We will not be at DexCon.
No.
No, we
wow, we're going to miss you there.
Yeah, we had to back out because we really needed to focus on Gen Con. We don't do enough of it.
All right.
And
Oh,
back
okay.
to back. So and then there was other issues, so we just needed to back out this year. But hopefully next year we'll be back on board and everything. So I feel bad.
Ginger, I do have to say I caught the video last night on Facebook Live where you played where Dave showed us Race for the Galaxy, but I also watched Terraforming Mars, and that looks like so much fun.
Oh, it was great. And so he set me up on the table. He said, "Why don't you play solo?" The next thing I know, got the camera at me.
Yeah.
Like, busy terraforming Mars. Go away. But really, it was a lot of fun. And
I want to try it
ended up
now.
winning. I
Cool.
ended up winning.
All right.
Mars did get terraformed that night.
Woo.
That's a great.
Very cool.
Awesome.
And then
Race
that
for the Galaxy. I would not try to teach your brothers and sisters.
Noted.
and that
Very
brings us to the
cool.
wrap up.
Yeah.
All right, wrap it up.
All right, well, thank you for watching. Firstly, if you enjoyed tonight's episode, give us a like and then hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I think we're at 109 now, which is
Yes, awesome.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's cool. You can find us on Twitter at LR Terrain. You can find us on Instagram at Legendary Realms Games, and you can support us on Patreon at LR Games, I believe.
For now.
For now.
For now, the Weekly Word will be getting its own Patreon.
Yeah.
And
another update.
Right,
yes.
and there will be, the Weekly Word will be getting its own Patreon, and there will be one level.
Cool.
It'll be $1.
All right.
And that's it. That's all we want for you to support us. The other thing is the Weekly Word will be getting its own website. We set up the domains today.
Cool.
Right. For now, there'll be subdomains, but
Okay.
eventually we'll move to our own domains.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex and I will start designing the website.
Cool. Love
So
it.
it's going to be great. Same with our Monday stream, by the way. They're both set up.
Awesome.
So we got to get to work. I got to send
Yeah.
that info over.
A lot of work to do.
With that said, I'm Rich Parla,
I'm Morgan West.
and
I'm
thank you.
Ginger Walsh.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Ginger.
joining us.
Thank you,
Always
and have
a lot of fun. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I had a blast. It's been a pleasure. Ginger, you're gonna have to join us again. We'll
Will
talk more.
do.
We'll talk more
Awesome.
board games.
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a
Take
great
care,
night.
and we'll see you next week.
Yes, we will.